Good afternoon, traders. This is Christian from Hertz Market Trade Group, and this is your end of day market recap for Thursday, October 13th. Geez, what a quiet day. Nothing really going on today. Very boring price action. I'm joking, of course. It's been this way. It's been in terms of the price action, just fast and furious, and a lot of reversals, a lot of twists, a lot of very macro headline driven tape, and today wasn't much different. We had the widely expected CPI report after yesterday's PPI report, which showed an increase in inflation. We saw that again today. So I will get into that. First things first, risk disclaimer in front of you. Everything that we're going through is for information purposes only, not giving out any advice or recommendations. Everything that we're going through is for education purposes only. So yes, what drove the markets from, this is obviously where we started the day. We could bring up the CPI report. It did come in hot, right? But the price action was different to it. So, so what happened here? Why was that? Well, it's probably a couple different things. When everybody expects something to happen in the market, sometimes that it doesn't turn out that way. And that's the market likes to inflict as much pain as possible on people. So, popular thinking, conventional wisdom, when you think that you're going to see one particular thing, which we did sell off based on this information. I just don't, many people were not, including myself, weren't thinking that we were going to get that type of powerful reversal. But, that's why we go through, we try not to really stay anchored to any belief. We really try to go with emotions and, be very observant when things change so that we can really take advantage of them when they do. And the more that you could stay objective about the market, the better off I think that you are overall. One other point that I'll make here is, this did adjust inflation. This did adjust, the amount of hikes that we're going to get. Now this has been priced in, about 75 basis points, but now it's now going over 75, and we're starting to get a little bit pushing towards 1% for the next Fed meeting, which is on February 2nd. So again, it's still on the side of 75, but it's the first time that we've seen this go past. Remember, just about a week ago, this was at 68 basis points. So it's moved, and this has been the case as we get more of these inflation reports. And then also, we're looking at, it could be a 75 basis points that's coming. Now, that's not fully priced in, but it was kind of 50 for a while for the December meeting, and now it's looking like 75. So again, it kind of just pushes the slope rather than leveling off. It's been pushing that higher. So, it's going to be interesting how this kind of shakes out, because the price action just dictated, more positive things. And, I'll also start with this too. There's a quote, right? There's a quote. I think I have it on here somewheres. Again, like I don't know if I need to buy into this today. And I don't think, my personal take is you don't have to either. Bear markets never end on good news. We did not get good news today. So is this the end of the bear market? We don't have enough information for that. We just have one day of price activity, and one day is not a trend. How many times have we seen this year really great one-day price action, and the very next day it gets reversed? So I have to see more. But it's always about it's always about probabilities, and how you're going to trade it. Do you have a plan to trade it so that you could kind of not get yourself into major trouble? So I'm going to talk a lot about that through this video. I also just wanted to kind of go through and talk about how if you're not a member of Tribeca Trade Group, just a little bit of insight on how we kind of tackled today. So every morning, what I do is I put out, commentary about what the index charts look like. This was, of course, before the the CPI data. And one of the things that we talked about this week in various different videos was that if the CPI report came in hot, there's a good chance that this version point of control could get taken out. Again, I repeat myself all the time in these videos, so I'll speak quickly so the people who know this. But version point of controls this is using volume at price. It's using our market webs indicator. It's a proprietary indicator that we use, and it really gives great support and resistance levels. So sure enough, this level was taken out. All right, so here we go. All right, this level was taken out. And again, where is this red line coming from? Well, it's coming from all the way back in here, where there was a high level of volume. I think it's right in here, a high level of volume that we haven't revisited. So again, it kind of acts like some technical traders love price gaps, right? When there's a gap because of earnings, right? The saying is that gaps usually get filled. I believe that's what people usually think. So it's the same type of concept, right? When there's a high volume area and when you begin trading outside of a range, price is going to search areas out where there's been previous high volume. So that's the takeout. And why this is important, why it's significant, is sometimes we could see a reversal off of that. Now it doesn't it doesn't mean that the bottom is in. You could see what happened here. This was back on May 12th. We had a nice reversal off this version point of control. We had a back test and we went a little bit higher for a little while, and then we ended up going lower again. So that's why it's too early to tell. Nice volume, by the way, in the day too, but and there has been some high volume, but it's way too early to try to think about if the bottom is in or whatever. But we have some levels to trade off of, and that's the most important thing, right? Everybody, I think when you're new to trading and when you don't have a trading plan, or you're not used to kind of understanding what to do in terms of trading, when you don't have a process, you then the number one question is, oh my God, is the bottom in, right? So we don't know that. We're not going to have an answer on that for a while, but we know how to trade it. And so let me get into that a little bit. Like I said, I wanted to just go through a little bit about how we went through the day. Right. So one of the things that I use a lot is market breadth, right? We have an indicator that associates volume with advancing and declining. It just makes it more significant, right? And it tells you if you've got heavy volume on, heavy selling pressure, or if it's minimal, right? And price action is just kind of doing its own thing without any major volume. And that's kind of more of the choppy readings. But this morning, this is very rare when you have a reading like this. I call this nasty breath. But when you've got all red like this and like over a 10 nicey, that's really heavy. But we started to see things change towards the end of the first half hour of the day. And my market update, which I can't play for you, but members have it, was we started to see things like the financials outperform. Like JP Morgan was going green on the day. And I'm like, well, that's not that's not common to see something like that. And by the way, the banks have been outperforming now for a while. Remember, if you've been watching some of my videos, you know that I even tried a couple trades in the financials. A couple of them worked, or actually one in particular worked, and a couple didn't actually. But that's fine. Sometimes you're just early in the trade, and sometimes you're not in the right group within the sector as well. But yeah, we noticed that there was strength, for a while now in the financials, that were just doing something a little bit different. Now, they weren't doing anything awesome, I would say. They just weren't going down as fast as the overall market. But definitely today it stood out like a sore thumb that we were seeing something different there. And so one of the things that you could do in our room is you can search. Did I have it in here? Maybe not. No, let me just bring up JP Morgan. But this was, yeah, I started to say, earlier this morning, this was at 9:47 in the morning. So it was, right. You saw that JP Morgan went green on the day. So that was something. And then of course, some other areas of the market that started to act really well was, I guess, you could probably guess at this point, what's the one sector that's been, that has seen the dip buying and that has acted really well. It's the energy stocks. So they showed the strength as well, and they kind of continued. But yeah, I mean, one heck of a reversal from here, from this version point of control. So I mentioned levels, right? Let's talk about some of the other indices first, and then we'll come back to the S&P, but just to kind of give you a sense. But NASDAQ also, we also took out this version point of control. Now, by the way, sorry to go back to the S&P, again, like I even tweeted this out earlier, and you'll find that sometimes I tweet things out. They may not be correct, but we adjust to them. There is this 3317 VPOC that's down there. Now, I don't know if that gets taken, like this may get taken out just at another time, but we started to get pretty close to it. So yes, my eyes drift down to where the next possible thing, where we could be going, but we managed to stay above here. So that's not pressing anymore, right? We adjust now. And like I said, there's another one down here as well. But for now, as long as we stay above basically 3560, then we don't have to worry about this right this second. And if we drift back below, then my eyes will drift down here. And at that point, we'll be back below the 5-period moving average. So that's the first thing. While we're still stuck on this S&P chart, we did recoup the 5-day moving average, right? That's the very short-term trend. And if you're trading right now in the short term, then you want to know where that is, because the 5-period moving average does a great job at telling you if we're what direction we're trending in, right? And then the next thing is going to be the bottom of value, which we started here, remember, in the beginning of the month, and we lost it and started to head back down. So we're going to have a test again here. So that's why I really can't get that enthused, about the overall market until I see, price maybe getting back above the 20-day moving average and getting back inside the value area, because it is what it is, right? As nice as this is, we're still trending down here. We're still below. If we're below a value area, that means, we're downtrending for the month, right? And you can see this in the top left, right? That's how we categorize things. Now, we still have some levels to trade against, if you like, because it's a little bit of a different picture, right? So let's go over to the NASDAQ 100 futures. So yes, VPOC being taken out. We just barely, I guess, closed right around the 5-day moving average. A little bit of relative weakness, even though, a strong day, because we're still decently below the 20-day moving average. Here's where it gets more interesting, right? We've been talking a lot about IWM, small caps, as well as the mid caps. Here, you're back at number one, you're above the moving average. You're above the 5-day moving average. You're number two, you're inside value, so stronger than the other indices. And we're close to the 20-day moving average. We did not take it back. So there's a much more constructive look for the time being. Things can change. But for now, and then look at the mid caps, right, which we've been spending a lot more attention than I normally do here, because it's been standing out. Back above the 5-period moving average, back inside value, and pushing towards the 20-day moving average. So kind of interesting. We didn't get over that yet, right? Also, I told you I would go back. So out of those indices, I like positioning in relative strength, right? And I'm long a little bit of IWM. I talked about MDY, which is it's a tougher ETF to trade, especially to trade in options, because they've always been wide in the mid cap ETF, just not as liquid. So that's the picture in the indices. I'm long some IWM, and I'll be long versus, so so is that bet on, putting on IWM, is that for, saying that the bottom is in? No, it's basically, as long as we stay above, here's some levels, right? We did get inside the value area for the week. Right. So right in here, right? I'm just trading this basically versus 170. I think I gave myself a little bit more room. where's my trade? Yeah, I put 168. So yeah, I'm giving myself a little bit of bumper room on this bottom of value. So again, I have a level to trade against. I know where the trade's going to work. I know where it's not going to work. I know where my target is, 175. I don't know if we could get there, soon, but that would be an upside target. Keep in mind this value area is just for one more day, right? And then we'll see how that develops. But again, it's all about having levels to know where you're right and where you're wrong, and you can kind of position around those levels and go from there. One thing I would watch tomorrow too, I said I would come back to the S&P. Notice that we did rally right up into the bottom of value, so 36.9650 is something that I'm watching for tomorrow. So how to handle this, right? Beautiful rally like this, and if you got long some things, then, and if they're more large cap type, and again, every stock is going to have a different value area, but when the overall index S&P 500 comes upon some resistance, I tend to like to be a little bit more of a seller. Okay, so let me go through a couple trades that I did. We'll talk a little bit more about some things to watch. I did get out of something right in the beginning for a loss of the day, just to kind of help risk manage and see where things were going to end up. I always have a list. Like if I've got 4 or 5 positions on, for example, I've always got my ones that I think are the strongest that I may add to in weakness, or I've got ones that I think, hey, this is the first one that's going to go when we've got weakness. Always have that planned out, in my opinion, about what you're going to do when you're facing volatility, or when the market does bounce, what are you going to add to? Case in point, right? I did this right at 9:44 in the morning. Right, this was a name I started to see when I saw JP Morgan, and some of the other financials go green. Right, I had a level to trade against down here, which is 233. Right now, I didn't get that perfectly. I get 236, so a little bit of a bounce. Again, I didn't get it on the absolute low of the day, but 236. And if you follow this trade along, I took a target there at 240. Getting back to the point of control, which is this line where the most volume occurs in a given period, and that's last week, that's where that line came from. And then I took some more off, and that was out of my ad. Now I'm still in my original position, right? And I got out of some of that right at the end of the day at 248. Okay, so again, not being super greedy with this market, taking what it's giving me. Now I still have some of the position on because this name looks really strong. Right, it's my favorite in the financial space. Right, huge bullish engulfing, which again, you're going to see bullish engulfing candles all over the place. But I love, like I added this on last Friday on the last check back too. Right, and now we're out to new highs. So really nice in that one. I also added a little bit of energy. Right, I liked what was going on. I saw some Exxon call buying. Right, and we had a nice check back. I think we talked a little bit about this in some of yesterday's videos, but in yesterday's video, some of these energy names. I like this name, Matador. Really nice, right? Little nice move, small check back into that's the 5-day moving average, I believe, right? And up, and really nice go there. And you could see that across a lot of names. Valero was not a name that I'm in any longer. I got I got beaten out on this candle, and I didn't get back into it. I had an alert. We talked about it in the room yesterday, but about putting an alert right back on a name that you get stopped out of, because you could always get back in. All right, you just have to be objective about the name. All right, so but that was the story. I think in a lot of different energy names. I've got a couple names on. Where I've got some exposure. And again, I took, again, I'm not sitting with exposure and not doing anything. I'm using this type of move that we saw today, to add risk and to take some risk off. And I think my last target was at, I took one more. So again, I took 3 targets in this trade. And now for Exxon, right, we could see if maybe we could take this out and maybe take out highs, right? And that's what the last portion of the trade is for, right? To see if now something really fun will happen in the trade. All right, I was in a little bit of GO for this move. Another deal being announced today. ACI and Kroger. It seems like we're seeing a deal or two almost every day. I tried a little bit of Google today, and this was the one trade that I'm like, you know what? I don't need to be in Google. It's too, the tech has been too difficult. I haven't traded it like a FANG stock, and other than going short Meta, I haven't traded any of them to the long side and probably, a month or so. So I'm very quick. If it's not working for me in, one of these FANG names, I'm out. Right. AMLX, biotech. We could talk a little bit about that too. I love what's going on in biotech. So, this day I'll continue to watch, but there are some names like a small cap biotech name. Hey, this has made a real nice move for me over the last week. I'm out of it. I don't need to be greedy. Could it go higher? Absolutely. I like this Regeneron, really nice bullish engulfing candle. And, Biogen, which was a name that we had on the watch list to start the week. Look at the move in Biogen, right? Now it did get a broker upgrade, which helped, but this was another name that I had an alert on. Very slim value area for the week, and you could cross the value area very quickly or very easily when it's this thin. So this is a name definitely, I think, to watch. Nice move out of this consolidation, and let's see if it has more to it tomorrow. All right, what else did I have? Other areas of financials, the insurance names, I mean, pretty wicked move in this progressive. Again, good example of a version point of control takeout and a reversal, right? So here's a reversal on this and a move basically back to where it was trading yesterday. Unbelievable, positive for the day. But other names that have been strong in this group, Unum, which did take out a VPOC up here. There's another one up here, so I would be a seller into that, and then see if it can actually get back above right around that 42.70 level. Very, very nice indeed. One other area of the market that I don't really trade that much, but I do look at, because I've been talking about how there's this very slim value area in Bitcoin. Bitcoin took out the lows here intraday, down like about 4%, like everything else was down, but came right back in. So again, it'll be an interesting one to watch. Again, I don't have any position. I'm just watching. And we'll see if it could actually break 20,100. That could be a long, could also be a short if it breaks down 18,535. All right, many other charts to review, but I want to keep this video somewhat short, and I think that there will be some good opportunities. But guys, just a very simple way to trade. Adding some risk when you get a signal, like we did see in a couple places today, some relative strength in some things, taking profits into the strength. And then, what I usually do is I leave a portion on, and I know exactly where I'm going to get out of the trade. So you don't have to worry about if the bottom is in. You don't have to get wrapped up in the media and playing up whether or not, like, this, this is definitely whether, or not if we get further upside or not, right? Have a trading plan, right? So that's what we do in the trading room all day long. Is we make adjustments to what we're seeing. I didn't even talk too much about the dollar, but that also confirmed. Now the dollar is not in a downtrend. The dollar is an uptrend. Now it did make a lower high here, but it's still in an uptrend. So we'll be watching this closely, as well as bonds, which were down on the day. Hammer bar, we'll have to see if we get some follow through off of that, hammer bar, because that's not above the 5-period moving average. All right, guys, have a great night. Really interesting and fun day to kind of be a part of, this price action. Like I said, I was joking in the beginning of the video, this is not dull. I think it was the 5th biggest reversal in the S&P ever. So if you were involved in that today, and even if you didn't trade that much today, I mean, it's pretty cool stuff to be a part of something like that. So guys, have a great night, and we'll see you back for the end of the week tomorrow.